I just made $15,000 trading SPY, and this is probably going to be the only trade I make for this month of January because I'm trying to take fewer trades to make more money, not more trades to make less money. So let me actually break this down for you, more than likely. So this is the weekly chart for SPY, which is what I traded. You can see for the past year, every candle here represents 1 week, but for the past year, everything's going purely on an uptrend. So I'm very call biased. I'm very permeable, at least at this moment still, but even though based off of the data that we're looking at. So it's going up, 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 and you can see it's giving higher highs, higher high, higher high, higher high, and it finally did drop down. But here's the thing, based off of how I have my zones drawn, top here, the bottom here, you can see if I zoom in a little bit more, at the zone formed here, it came up, came down, tapped on top of the zone, and what did it do? It bounced up. So a couple weeks later, came back to this area, was at 1216, tapped the zone, and then next week it bounced up. So then like, there's a pattern here. So it came down again, it tapped the zone, and then it bounced up. So I might be crazy, but I was like, hey, you know what? I wonder what would happen if it came down again into the zone this week, even if it is deeper, if it bounces up, maybe I should take a call. And I did, and I made 15K. I made the 15K here. I made it over here as well. I did the one over here. I did multiple different bounces. It's literally that simple. It's going on an uptrend. I find this position for the call, and there's that. That's the weekly chart. Let's pop over to the daily chart right here. So for one, this is what it looks like on the daily chart, right? Same thing here, but let me change my zones for you because this is what it looks like. You see it's tapping perfectly off, but we already kind of looked at that. We go to the daily chart and have daily zones drawn, just as an example. This gives you a little closer perspective to say, here's the high, right? It was going lower, you know? So you have to make sure you get a good exit. So we have the higher, the high up here, the low, the high, the low, the high, the low. So things are kind of going on a downward trend. So that's fine, but it's essentially, okay, once it does do this drop a little bit below the past candles, the wicks, then it's going to bounce up. It's more than likely not going to go higher per se. It's going to go lower per se. So based off of this zone, drawn from this guy on over to the right, it came down, hit it. I bought in about 580 after it started bouncing up. So not on this day, but on this day over here, literally yesterday. So 114, bought here and sold in the morning after CPI got released as the thing bounced up highly. And you can see it got pretty close up to this spot up here for basically to take profit, but I went and sold it early. I'd rather be early than late, and it just doesn't, it goes against you. So it perfectly went up. And plus we are in the micro on a downtrend on the daily anyway, if you want to call that the micro. So that's this. And then from a little more detailed perspective, let's go to the hourly chart and switch this. So for one, if I zoom in, this is what it looks like on the hourly chart. FY for the daily, for these candles here, for the zones that I've drawn. But if we change this to our hourly, I don't have zones here anymore. And look, I didn't change anything. This perfectly went to the levels that I was already had drawn. We had the high, or excuse me, the low, high, went lower, went high, went lower than this piece over here, and this went higher. And then I basically had this drawn from like the top area to make sure it tapped this, and it broke above this, excuse me, and it went on over to this little spot. And look, it tapped the area of the line because it's going to be lower than the one over here, but it's kind of parallel to this guy over here. And then it seems at the moment to be rejecting. That's it. So it's on that, sure, the downward trend, but as you can see, it got to the point to where it actually kind of tapped this bottom in retrospect to this area over here, started bouncing up, and it worked. It took a couple of days, right? Day one, day two, day three, and then it bounced. But that's normal because you can see day one, day two, day three, and it goes up. Day one, day two, day three, and it goes up. Day one, day two, day three, and it goes up. It's almost like it's a pattern that keeps repeating. Once you find the pattern in that specific time frame of when things are going on, you can make a bunch of money. So yeah, that's how I made the 14K for this month basically. And I guess I'll wait until February to make another trade.